Welcome back to the Detroit is Different podcast studios. And in studio, I have a young lady that's definitely spent some time in the studio and other places as well. But this is her first time actually on Detroit is Different. Very creative, visionary in many, many things, and very talented from the arc of production and directing and executive production when it comes to creative works that get to you. And right now she has a project that is one I definitely think that will grow and expand, and it combines the culinary arts and one of my favorite art forms of comedy. So the Cooking with Comedians, you should know who this is. Definitely uplifting that. Amber Ewing, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me, Kari. This is a home away from home. I've been in the studio many times.
Definitely. Many moons ago, but
right.
Still a lot of love. And also worked on a couple of different Detroit is Different projects, some Creative Differences projects. And certainly, like, some of that connection even goes back to, my big sister, Dar.
For sure. We go way back. I'm not going to age us, but we go back to the high school days, the original DSA.
Yeah, and you were an active producer and actively on one of the features that she shot here in the city of Detroit.
Yep.
You all can check it on many of the different platforms. It's a holiday film. It is growing every year. Catfish Christmas. Shout out to my cousin Devin. Devin's in it as well. Devin Laster and many others. It's a cool, I would say, like family, romantic comedy, a holiday feel.
A rom-com, as they call it. Rom-com for Christmas.
Definitely. And then rest in peace, Candyman was in it. You could never call him Candyman on set, but still in my mind.
Nope.
It was always Helen. I'm just like...
And you had to have his breakfast sandwich right. I remember that.
Hey. As far as I'm concerned, I don't blame him.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. But that's Catfish Christmas. Let's talk a little bit about some of your story. These always start with you and your family. Roots to Detroit. How many generations deep is your family to Detroit?
We're deep. We're really, really deep. My great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, my great-grandfather grew up on the east side off of Harding.
Okay.
You remember where Joe Muir's seafood place used to be on the east side?
I do.
Okay, he was right around the corner from there. My great-aunt, Betty Jean, was one of the original Primettes.
Okay.
So you can hear her name in the Temptations movie you remember when they were in the high school gym?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Where's Betty?" That's who we talking about.
And Betty Jean is an old school name.
It is. It's definitely an old school name. She did not make it to the Supremes because her mama was like, "No, you gonna stay in school," because they were all in high school. And she was like, "No, school education is important." So she had to drop out the group, but she was one of the original Primettes. So I got a little Motown. You want me to sing it too?
There we go. If you want to,
I'm not gonna do that to you.
Let's see, Stop in the Name of Love.
No, you're gonna be like, "Stop in the Name of Song." But I grew up in Rosedale Park. Went to Detroit High School for the Fine and Performing Arts. I did a year at Martin Luther King High School. I went to Go Lightly Educational Center. That's right over on St. Antoine and Ferry. So I always call Detroit schools the original HBCUs. And people don't, if you know, you know. Right.
Okay. Well, it's definitely a considerable amount of Black folks in the city of Detroit, so that definitely impacts the public school population big time.
For sure.
I want to go a little bit and unpack some of this family history as we go. Great-great-grandfather here. Whereabouts did he come from?
He was from the South, so he came from Mississippi.
Do you know where in the
I don't know.
Okay, but Mississippi was
Mississippi.
Where? Okay.
And then he came here for automotive. Once he got here, he worked for Chrysler, and he retired from Chrysler.
Okay.
And then my grandmother, his daughter, she retired from the RenCen. So she was in their catering department as a captain, what they call the management over all the banquets. So if you ever went to a banquet at the RenCen, you was probably seeing her. They called her Rambo.
Why did they call her Rambo?
Because Granny don't play. Okay, Granny Vera didn't play. Okay. She had those folks in line. Okay,
I got you.
And she retired from there, and then my mom, she left and went to Case Western Reserve, got her master's in social work, came back and worked for the Michigan Institute for Child Development, which was on New Center, was in the New Center area.
Mm-hmm.
So she was a supervisor over there helping with, foster care. Then went into Detroit Public Schools as a social worker.
Okay.
Where she retired, and now she has a private practice as a clinician. So,
Okay, working in that field for a while. In DPS, where was your mom at? What school? She bounced around many times.
No, it's the school. She did, but she landed. Oh, it's right. It starts with the L. It's right over here.
It starts over here? Longfellow?
Longfellow.
Okay,
Look at there.
Longfellow's no longer open. That is the junior high school that so let's see, my mother, and it was one that definitely was right in this neighborhood, located off of 12th Street and just a block across the way. As we think before Andrews, shout out to Andrews Funeral Home and everything.
Yeah.
For the longest it was there. It's one of those schools that was torn down, and it kind of stands out. There's a park over there, in its honor. They sometimes do basketball tournaments over there, and actually it's still a dip where it's water and everything. It's weird. People, sometimes kids are swimming there, which I don't necessarily know how safe it is. But at the same time, Longfellow is one of those institutions that at one point in time, when we look at so many more people in this community, it was packed.
I didn't even know that it closed.
Mm-hmm.
But she retired from there and moved on to
her own practice.
Her own practice. Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned Rosedale Park.
Rosedale Park. Let me say this about Rosedale Park. Okay. And I have to say this publicly. When I was in Rosedale Park, I always used to joke that all the black delegates lived there. I mean, I think there was a famous boxer that lived over there. We had Hendrix lived down the street for a while from us. And when you go there now, it looks so different, Kari. And when I say it looks so different, we are sprinkled in there. And it hurts my feelings because I don't feel the same energy as before when I drive through there. My mom's still over there. But it's just a few of us. And I'm like, what happened? How did this happen?
Well, we've
I mean, I know how it happened, but
we've definitely had some stories about Rosedale Park. If people know, over time, I was actually over at Miss Eva's the other day. So shout out to Jay and his wife. He's certainly someone that's right there keeping that community walkable.
Yeah.
Also with that, just so many other, Cornetta and Brent, they're certainly keeping it walkable, wanting to stay in that neighborhood. We think about even the Grandmont Rosedale Association.
Yep.
I think that's one of very active neighborhood community associations, and they even have the community space that offers people the opportunity to all right, you can, what would I say? You could test your business out in this space for about 3 months to 6 months to see how it goes and how the community connects and what pours in. And also shout out to Page's Books and being picked up by those brothers, keeping things connected, and the La Sosa family. I think that, definitely things do
And I'm
change.
talking about the residential part.
I know
because there's some
exactly.
great businesses over there. They even, my second show was over in the community center. Sold out in 2 days. We had a great turnout.
Yeah.
But it's just, it doesn't.
It's not probably what you remember, but definitely still some community members and elected officials still in that community.
Yep.
Those that have retired, I definitely know Deborah Thomas is over there, Judge Thomas, retired Judge Thomas, and many others. Let's see. Yeah, Rosedale Park, it's going to be active, but certainly it is one of those communities where it's man, more white people came. And
yes.
There was always a population there, but not as much.
Not as prominent.
Not as much as now. And,
yeah.
It's whoever's active and connected in community and providing opportunity. We just don't want it to be one of those things where we lean into making sure we honor the legacy of the space.
For sure. And a good news, and I think our juice bar is called Jay's Juicing Bar. Jay's Juice Bar. She's having a 5K in August.
Okay.
So if you ever want to do a 5K, August 9th, I believe.
Okay.
And registration opens July, and I can't wait to run the neighborhood. So
there you go.
I'm gonna get in where I fit in.
All right.
And shout out to Jay for doing that in that neighborhood for sure.
Well, I definitely go over to, I think it's like the Press Juice Bar.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
I go oftentimes when I have a later haircut, because though my barbershop is not in Rosedale Park, it's very adjacent to, I consider.
It's on 6 Mile.
Nah, it's actually on Schoolcraft, but it's not so far, but like it's in that same community. So if over there and they're open, I'm definitely going over to Press because I love smoothies, black-owned establishment where I can get some smoothies. You can put the order in and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of stuff. It's always packed. I did the full cleanse that she has. It's a whole, I need to bring her in Detroit. It's different.
You do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you do. And why you getting haircuts? You bald. Like, you can't.
Okay, I mean, in response, the reason is because, yes, I am. It's like the hair has tapped out, but at the same time, just especially camera and so much of this, it's like I want to make sure the lineup is good. I want to make sure that I want to stay crisp when it comes to that. It's like the little smallest things. It's already what you notice from what people put up when you put in things online, but let alone, it's like if I notice it myself, then it's like, all right, we can stay active. And then also, shout out to my barber, Mike D, which now it is an old people shop, but I know Mike D for years. So that's all love too. You know what I'm saying? I get to patronize, and they always got a final call in there. So it's like I get to get a final call and get a haircut hand in hand.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. All right. So more so, what do you remember about growing up in that Rosedale Park community?
So many memories. It was just safe. It was really safe. We could go out. We can hang out. The park was right there. I really feel like we're probably the reason they had those Hobbit hills that you got to drive over now. I remember coming home like, why do they have these speed bumps now? Because we used to fly through there bumping 99, 2000 up just loud. But I remember hanging out with my friends. A couple of people lived across the street that I went to middle school and high school with. We could walk through the park, through the streets. It used to be a Coney Island right there on 6 Mile in Warwick. The Coney Omega was right there at Grand River and Southfield. It used to be an arcade over, I think it's off of 6 Mile. I don't know if that's Ashton. I don't know what street that is, but arcade over there. My aunt and uncles used to live around the corner. It was just a family. It was safe. You could walk around. You just really didn't have any issue. June Day, every year they have a June. You know about June Day? So every year they have a June Day and they have a parade that comes down the street on a Saturday. Okay. And then in the park they have games and farm animals, face painting, all of the things. Okay. And they still do that to this day. My daughter actually went this last go round. So June Day, they have the soccer there. Then they have the farmers market. It's just it's a really good community to live in. It's safe. It's just I don't know. It's really home. It's really home.
All right. And kind of because of the relationship in which my sister, I know some of your DSA story, but you started at King as I had 2 years at King and then ended at Northwestern. Why were you at King? What was the feel? What did you think about Martin Luther King Jr. Senior High School?
So to be fair, King was large, a big school for me. I'm more of a small school kind of kid. And when I first got there, I was in CISC, communications, and I just really couldn't find my way. You know, I had friends. I had some friends that came there from Go Lightly. I had my little crew. I just could not find my way. And so with my mom knowing that I was into visual arts, and the school is amazing. A great school. But Dr. Cotton was one of the sorors. My mom is a Delta. And she was like, my daughter is into visual arts. She hasn't had any professional training in it. And I ended up going to DSA. But King, I still claim King. And it's funny enough, people that graduated in 98 that came in ninth grade with me, they like, I remember you from King. I remember you from King. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe I did give an impression or something like that.
There you go. So visual art was your major. Arts. So if anybody knows, we've had some discussions about DSA, but similar to like a cast tech, a student picks a discipline, but there you're going to pick, obviously, a artistry discipline.
Yep.
And you picked visual art. My sister was in that same program.
Yep.
A lot, definitely explored. What do you remember about that program in visual art? And being that your mother shared that you were no like formal training up to that point. So even before we get there, so yeah, let me start with this question. When did you begin like recognizing that you have a passion for artistry a little bit more than most children, and that you're good at it?
And my mom actually recognized it. I was always doodling on the side. I was always drawing, and I would just show her. You know, I was kind of a latchkey kid. My mom was a single parent, so I would go with her after work, and I would just have papers and papers. Get the copy papers out of the copy machine. Go get the copy paper that's used as a scrap paper, and I would draw. I would just draw.
What were you drawing?
You know what's funny? The picture that I used to draw the most, that I would say would be my claim to fame, was the Horn of Plenty. You remember that? The Horn of Plenty, it's probably called something else, but we called it Horn of Plenty. The horn and the fruit come out of it at the end. The wicker basket with the fruit coming out at the end.
That's like you usually see that like what's that? Like the cornucopias for like Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I thought that was the jam, but that's I used to draw that all the time. And fun fact, as I was in Go Lightly, I actually won a drawing contest. We had to draw like something for a Christmas, a holiday drawing, and it ended up in the DIA.
Wow.
In the student.
In the student exhibit.
I never got it back, so I don't know where it is. And I think it was in the Michigan Chronicle as well.
That's
so
big.
Yep. So that was in middle school, so that's when my mom was like, "Oh, you can draw. Let's try to enhance that."
Okay. And also as I guess just from knowing people into this like still life, so you're drawing images not of people, like of objects. What was it that like I think even connected you, can you remember, to being like, I want to draw this?
So my specialty was caricatures and sculpting.
Okay.
So that's where I kind of shined. I wasn't really good at the symmetry, because we had all of it, right? So
at DSA. Okay.
We had all of it.
I'm still talking before DSA.
Oh.
What was your like, you're taking on these still images. What was it that kind of stood out? Because I think so often young people, and I mean, it's kind of what we see. I'm thinking like maybe cartoon characters, things like that.
Oh, what was my muse? Like what?
Like a lot. That's just gonna stand out.
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one. I think for me, it was just I was drawing what was in my head at the time. Again, not having the professional training, it was just more of I had an imagination. So let's start there. And so it was just what was in my head.
Okay. So also when I hear that imagination, I think of like what would play out is like just active imaginations, toys, storytelling, things like this. Was this active as well when you were a kid, or was it just still more so like in artistry and you just kind of be in your own world?
Me being in my own world. As an only child, I grew up as an only child. And so it was a lot of, me being in my room. And back then, we didn't really watch TV like that. We only had a certain amount of time to watch cartoons, and then you had to turn it off, right? So just being with my toys and being in my room, I did a lot of imagining being somewhere else and being someone else. So like I would imagine I was an astronaut, and I would try to draw what that would look like. I don't know. I was really... And that's probably why I like to tell stories and became a director or want to share those stories, is because I just think that my imagination is really what pushed me to draw, for sure.
And I think also that the beauty of that childhood imagination also opens up possibilities that can be endless.
For sure.
Because up to like a point when you're younger, and then you get to a point where a person says, man, you can't do that. You got to stop thinking about that. And depending upon the age that happens, that has a whole lot to do with, I think, so many paths of, at times, sometimes people just almost like giving up on everything because they'll start feeling like everything could be taken away. And more so like, all right, let me fit in instead of actually pursuing the path of what I wanted to. So within this, you were able really to still kind of tap in and pour into like, okay, if I'm an astronaut or if I'm a... Ain't no telling. I mean,
I'm almost embarrassed to say what I was thinking about. But my imagination used to take me places. And the crazy part is when I got to DSA, so the schedule at DSA, we had our regular core classes and then we had our additional major classes. So I don't know if you remember, we would get out of school at 6:30. Get there at 8.
Very much so. A lot of the early days of DSA, the old Murray Wright building, Wilbur Wright, that was a different feel. And it's no offense to like, and shout out to my cousin, Dr. Myra Reynolds, that's the principal at DSA now, and she was actually an instructor at that older DSA as well, but a different feel that was, first off, the building, the size of the building, the vision that was poured in from Dr. Cotton and so many others of wanting it to happen, and active parents like my mother, rest in peace, Jan Frazier, and many others. Like, it was way more cohesive of like, just walking down the halls, it really felt like
fame.
Exactly. Like you see dancers and artists. And
that is so true. My first week at DSA, I almost was shell-shocked. Because when you first, it was literally like fame. Like we had the dance majors out. They were dancing. Everybody had on their dance clothes. Nobody dressed in regular clothes. Then they had the band. They was playing, I remember this like it was yesterday. They was playing Sex on the Beach. Like, and I'm like, how do you play that? Like, it was crazy. And I was like, wow. Like, I'm really at a performing arts school. I was really at a performing arts school. And I just fell right in. Now, granted, we kind of had our silos as majors, the visual artists and the
vocalists, dancers, and band.
But as a school, as a community, we were different for sure. We were definitely different.
Yeah, very, very much so. And the days would be long. So as you start learning more formally, and this is where I think it's hand in hand, to imagination, kind of back to that point. And imagination and executing things that are unprecedented, they go hand in hand. So it's so interesting that when anything is founded, they always say like, the vision is needed. To me, vision is a more, I guess what we say, formal way of saying imagination.
Yeah.
And those that had, like, I remember, you know what I'm saying, toys, it's like whole worlds that just exist where, ghetto kids. So it's like G.I. Joe versus the Ninja Turtle versus
He-Man.
This toy I made with my mama's bobby pins. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's all playing out in my mind. The further you can play those things out in your mind as a child, the more a lot of those visions can come to life as you get older. And that's why I also, connecting to that, think that one of the worst things to witness is when a person really breaks that imaginative spirit of a child. In the whole, like, you just got to be real and keep it real, because so many people, like, you have no idea the boundless possibilities that could exist if you just allow that creativity to free flow.
Yep. And for me, it's crazy because I kind of got out of that, because once you have to do something, it almost seems like work, right? And so when I was at DSA and I, getting those long hours and having to do those classes, it became work. And so I got out of it when I went to college. And then that's when I pursued, TV production. I got a minor in that, but I still kept that imagination, right? But I wanted to do it now on TV, and it's funny. I was thinking back to what really sparked my interest in TV, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what it was. Remember 1989, 90 Bad Boys Pistons.
Okay.
My mother She took us to the airport when they came home after they beat LA.
Okay.
Then she bought me the VHS, the championship VHS, where Isaiah Thomas was singing "Heaven Must Be Like This," and they were talking about how they were compared to the Raiders. And I remember watching that over and over every day when I got that, and the feeling that it gave me, that, and I couldn't explain it then because I'm 9, 10, right? But the feeling of, I don't even play basketball. I don't even know what they're talking about, but I feel their energy. I want to go to a game. I want to be a bad boy. And then later on, as I learned that it was about editing, it was how it was produced, it was the music, it was the shots, it was all of these things that brought it together. I'm like, I want to do that. Okay,
so what you're speaking of, this is, I'm gonna contextualize it for people like often these Detroit is different, but okay, so I remember it because and I still am really big into magazines. I collect old magazines, but at one point in time, like, you would get a Sports Illustrated subscription, and they would give you like a tape of whatever team. And it would be like, whatever your team was, they send it to you. So these tapes would be created and produced. Now, this is also the era when we think of 89, you could go on Foot Locker, and it was sometimes just these tapes like Michael Jordan, Come Fly With Me, that you could get. The Bad Boys tape that you're talking about, obviously here in Detroit, it was like one of the hottest things in the streets.
It was.
Similar to, like, you know, I mean, up to that point, you know, and no offense, I love Isaiah, you know what I'm saying? Because my era, you know, I'm born in 82, but he's definitely not singing as good as a Sugarfoot and the Ohio players. No. But it fits. And the way the story and the arc of it, and so much of the characters on that team becoming like a Raiders and what it is, the Bill Laimbeer and that first team, you know, you got Rick Mahorn, you have a
Microwave.
Yeah, I mean,
Dantley.
the most, which this is probably shocking to anybody watching in retrospect, but like the most, what would I say? Most buttoned up, like, just go for it guy that was on the team. Actually, it was like Dennis Rodman at that point in time.
It was. You ain't lying.
John Sally and his person. I mean, even
Joey
to this day,
D.
Gregarious, yeah, Joe Dumars, Gritty, the Microwave, like you said, like, all of these players have like personalities, and their personalities like even added more to it in the rally and what it is and all this stuff creates. But you watch that over and over again.
I watched it over and over again.
This is also like when we think of, like, you know, late 80s to the early 90s, you get a, you know, it's not going to be like a huge VCR collection. I mean, VHS collection for your VCR player. Whatever you watch over and over again, because me and Dara will watch, like, Coming to America so much, my sister, because that was one of the tapes we had.
Right.
So you would watch over whatever you had all the time, especially if you're younger, and in it, you're picking up more and more and more and more and more and more.
Right. You know? And then I looked at, I actually pulled it up on YouTube the other day because I was like, let me look at this again. And I was like, wow, look at the graphics. Look how primitive they are. Look at the fades. I'm like, my goodness. And it's just, you can see the evolution of TV and broadcasting from that.
But some of it looks cool. It was like so weird. Like, what's a good image to, like, what's something? Okay. All right. I'm going to take this keyboard. So it was something like in a double pan spin that was very active in those. So, like, you would see it like in a small video, and then it would like spin around, and then you would see it like double up. Yep. And it would look, oh, that's so cool. Like, you know, the intro to, like, if anybody remembers this, like, HBO Max of what you watch now is more like, I guess, a subscription-based service where you're watching television. But at one point in time, it was a premium channel on TV, and it had like its own music. And then you watch the HBO come together and graphics, and you'd be like, oh, HBO, you know.
And the way it was edited, as a young kid, I didn't know what that song was that the Pistons used to come out to. And I finally realized it was Europe. Final Countdown.
Yeah.
And just having them come out to that song and hearing that, it gave me chills. And it came full circle because once I graduated from OU, I got an internship with Fox Sports Detroit. And then I got a PA position, freelance position with ESPN. And so we were on the floor at the 04 championship.
Wow.
So it did come full circle for me. And ultimately, we talk about imagination, I ultimately want to be a director in broadcasting. I want to be on the trucks, camera one, ready camera one. I want to do that. That's where I get. I don't know what it is about that, but I just want people to feel the way I felt when I watched that VHS.
Wow.
And so that's what brought me, back to TV.
Okay, so I want to unpack more of the story as you are presenting some of this. So as you lean more into learning more about these skills and techniques and visual art, and it's tough like any artistic field because it's so subjective, but the way that it'll be presented as if this is the rule, this is how things will be done, and then somebody will present something that's everything against what all of these people said is the rule, and they'll say, wow, this is just so phenomenal. And you'll be like, damn, I was just doing that. I would say, as I've had many interviews here with students that have gone to a CCS or any of those higher art schools, it's very tough and heavy on a lot of those artists. That's why, and when I speak this, I'm not making it an absolute, but the population of students that unaliving themselves and things like that can happen because it's so subjective.
Yeah.
And in the way that sometimes people in that field, and I think some of it is just dealing with their own whatever struggles. Yeah. It can be as hard as we think of those old school football coaches, or if you guys are watching this, a Bobby Knight in Indiana, or maybe even worse, just the way that sometimes you hear the stories of I submitted a picture and the person takes it and they tear it up and they throw it out.
Yeah. That's what happened to me. I went to ESPN. I got an in with ESPN. Flew out to Bristol, Connecticut. I took my last little check. At that time, I was making $9-10 an hour, and I got an in, and I went out there, and this brother, he was like, "Okay, your resume is spot on," because I was going for editing. Yeah, he was like, "Your resume is spot on." He said, "Now you got to take a sports test." So the entry level people, kids that went in, you took a sports test, and I got 3 out of 50. Now for me, I'm like, well, I'm coming in to edit. I don't feel like I really need to know sports like that. And he was like, Amber, if I put you out on that floor, those young men would eat you alive. And I was like, and I cried when I went home, got back on the plane. And actually, that was the end of TV for me at that moment. I went into training.
Okay. Right after, so I still want to go back to art before we get to TV, because we got to go back art before we get to TV.
Okay.
Because, so what is it that walks you so much away from art? Like I said, it can be heavy and subjective, definitely, as I gave that. Check the archives. I think the Phil Simpson interview and what he talks about at U of M is pretty good.
We went to high school together.
Yeah, definitely.
Phil. And, So for me, I think why I got away from art, I think, again, was the fact that I had to do it. I had to do it for a grade, right? It was no longer my pastime. It was more so now you have to get a grade in it. And I got to be honest, DSA, I'm pretty sure you heard the stories. DSA has some top-notch artists. I was probably in the middle there, so I wasn't nowhere near as good as some of these folks were. And it might have been a confidence thing, I know at a point in time I was really just trying to get through to get a grade, and so when I graduated, it wasn't something that I really wanted to pursue after that. Look at Phil, he is far, just some of the artists that came out of DSA, I was nowhere at that caliber at that time.
So definitely, and shout out, Phil will be coming back soon. But, he would be the main one to say, it's still in your story and your journey. Since then, have you ever just yourself over time just picked up, started sketching and drawing yourself?
I sketch every day. I doodle every day. That's how I think. For right now, I don't know why I draw eyes. So I try to get in the details of the eyes. But yeah, I've never gotten away from drawing and doodling. To me, it helps me sort through things in my brain.
Break that down.
So I have many tabs open. You've worked with me before. I always have many tabs open. And as I doodle, I can close a tab. Or as I doodle, I think out something. As I doodle, I feel like things are coming to me, and then I'll close it. I can show you countless of notebooks where I have so many doodles and drawings in there, where I started drawing cartoons like the Family Guy cartoons. I started drawing the Boondocks, cartoons. I was definitely a caricature artist. But for me, doodling keeps you creative. So because I have a 9 to 5, I don't use that part of my brain, right? Not as much. And so for me, sitting there and doodling and drawing eyes or drawing graffiti, putting my name in graffiti blocks and all of that, to me, that's still keeping that part of the brain moving.
Okay, so now you gave the story of the Pistons championship tape. So that's 89. Definitely, as you graduate, that's we're looking at like decades in time to what you're thinking. And in radio, TV, shout out to Mr. Catula at Northwestern. I had a radio television class. Before you graduate, what was your steps over into like anything in television production post high? Like while you were in high school, did you touch anything in the editing deck or? Okay, nope. And then also let me contextualize this for I sometimes talk about this anytime we talk about it. So like I graduated high school 2001. This is like a transition into like what's happening digitally. I mean, I don't have my phone with me, but like you can do so much with a phone that would have taken so long, like back in the day. But in some ways, as I say, I like that I learned on the hardware stuff because now I know what's being replicated when I look into, a Final Cut or Adobe Premiere or something. Like I know what this used to be, and that gives me some advantages, as I'm sure like the person that never seen the old school stuff knows some things. When's the first time you even go into something that's like television production?
So Oakland University.
Okay, so you chose to go to Oakland.
I went to OU.
Okay.
And this is when OU did not have a production. They didn't have any type of production major. This was a brand new, we were building the editing suite together. My professor, Mr. Burke got me into TV production. And so I took it as a minor because I went in for communications. I was going to go in to try to do social work. And I was like, wow, this is they got a new major. Let me see what this is about. And we started with editing. We did everything. We did directing. We touched the cameras. Our final project was something on campus. So you had to take a problem on campus and kind of make a documentary. I chose dorm life because I was living in the dorm. And when I was talking about how bad the parking was, Oakland is totally different now. So
at that time, also giving you out like kind of a feel of Oakland University, and it's so interesting because Portia Powell in some of the interview there where she's talking about it, and let's see, Constant Tory discussion about Oakland. So it's definitely been some people that have gone to Oakland. Oakland University, when I'm thinking like late 90s, early 2000s, so I say like 98 to probably 2005, how I know it, like as I'm going there, you think of it as it's one of those schools similar to like the school I graduated from, where like a lot of people that are already in careers, grown people, are gonna go there to like be like, all right, I get this degree, I probably get like a bump in my raise, or I can switch out and go someplace. But around the late 90s, early 2000s, it was like a big push to kind of do what Wayne State was doing, seeing like, look, let's try to get some freshmen straight up to come here, and let's make this one of those 4-year institutions. While this is happening, during this wave, I know so much about it because the radio station that's up at Oakland is one of the places where they like, yo, you get a song up there, they'll play your music. They started like doing, shout out to my guy Darnell Wilson, like it was like black fashion shows and stuff. Like it was looking to become a lot more campus life things, especially with like the basketball team getting into the tournament and things like that. But it still was in a transition from, you know, like with Walsh, you know what I'm saying? You'd be in class with like somebody that for sure would hire you, or like your mom's manager. Not just a bunch of like teenagers. You know what I'm saying?
So true. When we went up there, when I was there during that time, we were definitely the minority for sure. We all knew each other. We all kind of stuck together and hung with each other. Then I got into Greek life there. So it was definitely, and the crazy part, out of my group, I was really the only Black female in production at that time. And that it didn't hinder me, but I had a rough time. And trying to earn the respect of the other young men that I was working with. I had to work harder than most.
So I mean, we kind of had a discussion maybe like 2 weeks ago where it's real even to this day with everything that's said. And there are certain film festivals with women. We know women that are into like being directors and so many different ways. Like, all right, first off, like all the stuff you see, even sometimes the most Black stuff you see, like you're seeing us on the screen or like, you know, singing a song or whatever, but you usually can turn around and look at any production. You probably ain't seeing Black people, period.
Nope.
Like,
and then a Black woman is really...
And then you go, and then you go up another level to like a Black woman, like, you know, and I ask all of you all, because y'all going to these summer concerts, look at who's in the production booth at all these places. You know what I'm saying? All the places. And you see who's doing the stuff, the tech, meaning like who's running the lights, who's running the sound. If you see any Black folks, period, let alone a Black woman, especially when it comes to cameras. Next time you guys are at a sports game and you all are looking at, you know, you go to the Tigers and you just happen to look over like who's on camera and all of this, like pay attention. It ain't a lot of us. Like to the point, it ain't even a lot of white women. Usually this has been a white male dominated industry across the board.
So imagine a 23-year-old young Black girl trying at Fox Sports Detroit at ESPN trying her best to get in and fit in. They let me do stuff like I had to go pick up Scottie Pippen from the airport. That's a whole nother story. And you know, you when you're in those spaces, especially as a Black woman, you try not to rock the boat, right? Because you want them to call you back. And I really, after I didn't get the job at ESPN, it really crushed my soul because I really worked hard to get in some of those spaces for sure.
I can imagine, and you still jumping the gun real fast. So I want to break some more of this down so the people watching. So what equipment are you guys learning on if you're building everything out? What are you guys learning on?
So we learned on, again, for me, I wanted to do Avid Express. And so that's what I stuck to. We had the regular board, switchboard, the regular cameras. But for me, I focused on editing and I focused on Avid.
Okay, Avid is one of the softwares that, especially at that time, it was
big TV.
Yeah, definitely big in TV and good to transition, especially like when we think of like all the reel-to-reel and tape. And still is reel-to-reel and tape being used depending upon who you're working with, but things are so digital now. Things have gone completely different, especially when we think of like content production and everything. But Avid is what you learn on. And because you didn't get this like in high school, because this is another thing. A lot of these films, some of these kids, you know, got like uncles that, you know, work on films like in like, you know, one of the producers, like a part of like some Steven Spielberg production. So they may have spent a whole summer being a PA, you know, on, I don't know, you know, Forrest Gump or something, you know what I'm saying, when they were 7, you know, but being that you didn't have access to it, and this is another one of those things, you get better the more you use it. And when you're learning at a school, you only got access when you got access to it at a school, and if it's multiple people working on a project,
you can only get in where you fit in. They would set us up with teams. And so I had a camera guy that would follow me all around.
And this is also where now I want to uplift where the race and gender dynamics can carry weight too, whether it's implicit or explicit. It still can be one of those things where naturally it'll be like, well, I just already know how to do it because I've been using Avid for 5 years, so let me do it.
Yeah.
And now you end up not learning the software, hence you end up very dependent on others to execute your project.
So crazy enough, I ended up going to Specs Howard to try to get certified in Avid. So I took a 6-month certification in Avid because I did not get the full. Again, to your point, we were, rotating around. You only have so many, a semester is so long that you just going to work on one project and get that done. There was no room to kind of play with the equipment. And because the production studio was brand new, they weren't letting kids freely go in and out, right? Which now I hear that it's bigger. Now I haven't even been in the new one yet. But so I had to go to Specs and pay additional money to learn how to do it, after that. And even in that class, Kari, I was the only Black woman in that class. And I felt it was intimidating. I'm not going to lie. It was very intimidating. I am not inherently tech savvy. So I have a learning curve in that, so I have to, and a lot of them was picking it up. And you could tell that they've touched it, right? Where I'm coming from, just the instructional part, I didn't have the practical experience just yet. I got deterred from actually taking the exam because I was like, wow, if I take this exam, everybody will hire me, right? To be certified in Avid, I just went on ahead and got my little certificate and said that you completed it. But, in hindsight, I would have definitely... I feel like if I had the confidence, and a little more support, I would have really pushed that to do that more at that time.
All right, so a couple different things I want to contextualize with that as well.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Specs Howard School of Broadcast, for years, definitely decades, it is one of the institutions for the longest. I drove by it the other day. It was Evergreen and 9 Mile, basically across the street from Word of Faith, depending upon how you look at stuff.
Yep.
And also, sadly, I worked in the telemarketing place that had a suite at the time. But that school is one of those schools that we think of like pick up a trade. My cousin, shout out to my big cousin Lumumba Reynolds, that has like when people like so much of all of this is like directly connected to so much of like looking up to my cousin when he was a DJ when I was a kid, like hip hop DJ, and like just looking at all of this stuff carry out. So I knew it was possible. But he goes to Specs Howard back in the day. Also, shout out to Stacey Hot Wax Hill, one of those people that is very instrumental. And right now, Specs Howard's is a part of Lawrence Tech. Lawrence Tech in that same Southfield footprint, but that school of broadcast is part of that.
And Dara was an instructor there at one point, wasn't she?
Dara's done some things there as well. And Stacy and Lumumba a little bit, but it was just always known you can go to Specs, get some different people, and back to like at this time, it's not like now. At this time, like a Pro Tools deck. I went to the digital recording studio in Detroit, so like a Pro Tools deck and setup, you're looking at, this is back in the day, like the Avid and Pro Tools decks, you're looking at tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
So these schools may only have two, and even at a Specs, it's still back to like, how can you get access? And sometimes it may be easier to get it at like a Oakland than Specs, because Specs is like, running their semester-based classes that may be like 12 to 15 weeks. So, even people coming in for those hours and you still hit that brick wall of like what you say with that learning curve, like it's hard to get access. You can't just get this stuff like you can right now, and you can really edit
and just down
on YouTube.
Yeah,
and then furthermore, this is the other thing that exists. Like, YouTube is coming along maybe like 04 or something, but YouTube University ain't like what it used to be. And all of this technical stuff, sometimes anybody giving you something like the instructions, it'll be something just as simple as like, you have to kick I was doing something in DaVinci Resolve, which I use a lot for my color correction. And it was like, you got to change like the master controls of where, this is real like tech shit, but you got to change the master controls because I was transferring between computers. I got a couple systems, and it was like, okay, change the location of your cache file so that I could update my firmware on my external hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was not given in the YouTube tutorial was I had to go to the gear button in the corner of it to get to the master controls. Something that simple in a lot of these like tutorials and what you should do sometimes can be a step that's skipped, but a step that you'll be like, I don't see what this is saying because I don't know what it's talking about.
Yep.
Hence, if you're not familiar with this stuff, it's hard to get familiar. And back then, it wasn't as simple as like the accessibility to what you got now. It's probably, like I say, tens of thousands of dollars. This whole content creator do-it-yourself vibe was not happening back then.
Yeah. And even back then, I walked away with my my Avid Express. Well, but I had my Avid Express keyboard and shortcuts on a USB drive. That's how old it was. You stick your USB drive in the computer. If it had the software, you could pull it up. So it definitely now, I think a lot of creators, content creators, filmmakers, directors, we have no excuse at this point because it's at our fingertips, right? And you can learn on demand.
It's a lot more tools to learn, and the other thing is, like even this setup, like I don't know if a person, I don't like you're looking at this, so like this is a audio board, this is a video switcher. Connected to the video switcher, I have my cameras. Connected to those cameras, I got lenses. Now, I can scale down my production and still execute a lot of this stuff. Mm-hmm. But technically, this is a shitload of equipment, but I've known some of this stuff for a long time.
Right.
And you can easily take for granted what's happening. And it's still way more of a setup than I think probably other people. But then along with that, when you come in studio, I got lights going on. So like in this room right now, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I used to have a light here. So it's 5 lights going. And of those 5 lights, 2 of them are like, one got a lantern on it, one just got a spotlight on it. It's a lot going on in here. And I didn't even get to the microphones. Right. But the people watching this are probably thinking like, oh, man, he just having a conversation.
Yeah, and he just got 1 camera up, 2 mics, and there it is.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of steps to like this whole process. And it's more accessibility now in this do-it-yourself age. But with a lot of this accessibility also comes the exhaustive level. And I had to learn this even with my recording studio of like, you really got to deep dive and learn your tools because there's new stuff coming out every month and you be thinking like, damn, should I get this or should I get that? Or, oh man, they just shooting videos on their iPhone. And there's a lot of people shooting whole films on iPhones, but they got like lens combinations and all of this other stuff. And then you got to learn that. You're only really, I think, going to be as good as the access to the skills of what you learn.
Yep.
And when do you choose to learn it? Yep. And it's weird because I think a lot of this tech is on like 3 or 5 year cycles. And in reality, it may take you 3 or 5 years to really learn whatever you got.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's funny that you mentioned that. I have been playing around with the thought of, and I've spoken to you about it, about learning DaVinci. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you have the editing eye. You need to just learn it. But it's the learning curve. It's the evolution of it every time. It's a new update. It could do this, it could do that. And not to say that I don't want to learn it, right? And I was talking to somebody else about this. Even as I move back into TV, I want to learn all the aspects of it, right? The problem is, to your point, it moves so quickly. It's like, well, I'm learning. Wait, I got to catch up now. I got to learn this. It is updated. So I guess for me, I think trying to understand the business, for me, I think is more so what'll be beneficial for me as I move forward.
I definitely think that. And I want to give this tip to anybody because like, so many people I know, like all my friends be like, damn, how much better than you doing? Yeah. And And shout out to Liz, like back in the day, one of my favorite gifts. She got me a pillow that's like eat, sleep, edit. I think one of the biggest keys to anyone getting into editing, it's going to be whatever your editing suite is like. So my cousin Lumumba, he has his suite is set up where like he can do the standing desk or sitting desk. He like his soundboard and like what he has, and he stacks his cages. My guy, shout out to Ryan. Ryan is one of those people, like, he has that mobile setup, and Ryan, I ain't seen Ryan in a minute. He likes to, like, travel on projects and work on it. I've done some of that sometimes. Like, if anybody that, you know, knows me, my setup is, like, real, like, you know, lazy boy chair, like, because for me, I sometimes like deep diving and sitting in this space for anywhere where, you know, I may be kind of working on this project for
8-9 hours.
Yeah, 8-9 hours. Like, I'll get up and go. You know, I like music, always stuff on in the background. So it's like a good editing suite that matters is very important. Nothing can be, I think, a little bit more uncomfortable than like sometimes people have, unless this is really how you work, like those like more collaborative spaces that got a space, and now you're working and there's somebody in a station next to you, and you got to have your headphones on, and you know, you got to be sitting there, and God knows if, you know, if they eating tuna fish sandwiches and you don't like the smell and it's messing up your focus, or I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
That's how some of them are now. We used to go to editing suites and look at how, and it would be 3-4 men sitting next to each other. They have their own little kind of cubby, but you're still out in the open next to, and it's for sure.
Yep. And also it's back to that creativity of it. Like sometimes for me, the timing matters too.
Yeah.
So I know, like, okay, like I do it in levels of production. Lord knows, it's like I'm giving you some keys of, and it's like, damn, Carl, you talking so much, but I want y'all to learn from this too.
Yeah.
So like after I shoot, because I like to shoot in 6K, the first thing I gotta do is I gotta dump over and color correct. So that's like step one. So like if I shoot, we got something coming up in Chicago, so it's probably gonna be like 2 days worth of shooting in Chicago. So the 2 days worth of shooting, we're probably gonna end up with like 8 hours worth of video. That 8 hours of video, the first thing I gotta do is convert that and bounce it down to production that I want. So that's stuff that like processes that can run after I set it up. But to set up the 8 hours of shooting, it probably still may take me anywhere from like 3.5 to 4 hours worth. So I got a computer that I can dedicate to rotating and doing that, right? That's just straight up basically taking the files, converting it, making sure I can use these external drives as time goes, because that's another one of these things, which you kind of came to me. These SSD drives that I bought last year, due to the materials in them being like raw materials that China and like whatever in a lot of nations in Africa that they built, and they can process these rare minerals from, like these things cost like right now like 150% more than they used to cost.
Yeah.
So now I have to like be real mindful about clearing this stuff out, because a drive that used to be $350 right now is $995.
Yep.
So, you know,
ran into that.
I have to be real mindful about like, okay, running out, because you don't need this to happen. You run out of space. So now I'm trying to like rush whatever's going on, and that's going to take away the shoot. Or I like limit the capacity. So like, you know, the first 6 interviews I shoot like this, but now because I got limited space, I'm going to shoot like that.
Yep.
It's like the slightest of thing that I'm going to notice, and it's going to go into the editing. It's going to be in the back of my mind, and it's going to be like, damn, I'm sitting up here giving myself the disclaimer of knowing that I didn't deliver like I wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's level, I need a different level of attention when I'm making cuts. Making cuts is making the decision of when I go to this camera or that camera, how I'm going to set up the flow, and like when it stops and when it starts. I got to really be paying attention for that stuff. So that's a different, higher level of attention. And then I get into like, okay, the finishing touches. When I get into After Effects, and this is overlays. In my mind, because I like After Effects, I think, oh man, I just work on that for 2 hours. It's been times where I start After Effects at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I look up and I'm like, damn, it's 1 o'clock at night, and I still wanted to work out. So now I got to work out in the morning, because you can dive deep into animation of like adding images and graphics and all this stuff on top. because this is what editing can be.
That's what editing can be. And that is what I'm, in my mind, I'm like, am I ready to get back in that?
And I think personally, you definitely, we've had the conversation many a times.
Yeah.
And now that I'm kind of getting more of this story from this interview, I can see where it's like, damn, I think the number one thing that I would do if I was you is make that editing suite in your space.
Yeah.
Because if you have the suite and you're already kind of comfortable in it, that helps so much. And this is to anybody. If you don't have a comfortable place to edit, you ain't doing no editing.
You ain't lying. You not, and even with my 9 to 5 as an instructional designer, I have to use Adobe Articulate and I have to do e-learnings. Mm-hmm. When I am not comfortable, that's why I like to get in my zone. I like to have all 3 of my screens up because I got to move stuff around. My narration, I need to have my audio. So to your point, and that might be the reason why I'm hesitant to get back in editing, because I have the instructional design that I do. But for my show and for time's sake, I feel like that's a skill that I need to get back in my toolbox for sure.
Okay. So now we can pick up a little bit more with this ESPN story. So you have it, you're getting on the Fox Sports. At that time, it like I say, it's not like today, so it's not a lot of the same amount of content stuff. I think in some ways it's good because now you get an opportunity. How do you get to Fox Sports?
Fox Sports, I just applied.
Okay.
It just so happened one of the producers there was an OU grad.
Okay.
And she saw my resume and she's like, I saw you're Oakland University alum. Come on over. Mm-hmm. At that time, they were only, as an intern, you were recording the games in this little room, pushing record, mm-hmm. and watching the game, and then hitting, stop. That's what you were doing. You were going back mm-hmm. in files and putting up tapes and mm-hmm. taking tapes down. This was back in the day when tapes was still the jam. Mm-hmm. We were going to the games with the crew and helping out with whatever they needed, So it wasn't a lot of, again, they would tell you, if you want to do something on your free time, if you want to go in the editing suite and practice, or if you mm-hmm. want to travel with one of the producers, if you want to do that, you can. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I was working at Providence Hospital. Okay. So when I would leave that internship, I had to go to Providence Hospital as a dietary aide. I had to make them. I was driving a little Neon. I had to make that little money.
There we go.
So I didn't really have that free time mm-hmm. to do that. But then they passed my resume around and I got called by ESPN to freelance. So at that time, just like with Dara, when she comes and mm-hmm. does a film, she tries to get the local crew here to help out. So that's what they do with broadcasting. So same 2004. So 2003, I was at Fox. 2004 was when the championship came. And so TNT was here. ESPN was here. We were all out on the trucks and they wanted local PAs. Again, running line, out there in the rain, taping up stuff, running back and forth from producer to editor to analyst. At that time, Stuart Scott, I was picking him up from the hotel. I was picking up, TV talent from the hotels, and they, you from Detroit, you know how to get to the airport from the Palace, because that's when we was in the Palace. Yeah. Driving out to get Scottie Pippen because he had to be on the air in about a half hour, so I'm flooring it. Yeah. So all of those things, which I think those to me are paying dues, right? And then as I moved around and networked with folks, they was like, we can try to get you in. So at the time, I don't know if they still had this program at ESPN, but you can come in as an intern, mm-hmm. but you're hired, you're paid, mm-hmm. and you're staying in a dorm. Okay. And it's kind of like a boot camp, right? So kind of like survival of the fittest. Yeah. And so you had to take a sports test to get in.
And that was the one where you did 3 of the 50.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And so, the young brother, he said, he was like, your resume is fire. Mm-hmm. They weren't saying fire at that time, but your resume was the bomb. And he said, but I cannot put you on that floor with these guys. They will eat you alive. And the funny part, the night before I had that interview, I was in the hotel just watching ESPN. I'm like, let me try to retain all this stuff. Let me get the current events, because I'm sure that's what they're gonna ask. And I was drawing pictures on the side. Oh, when I tell you, Kari, my heart was so broken. And it did. It broke my spirit, because I felt like I had put in all the work. The resume was looking good. You know, I may not have had the sports skills, you know, but I felt like, you know, that I can learn because I'm in that environment. You learn as you go. But somebody at the time, was my boyfriend, he said, well, here, look at this perspective. Let's say they gave you a shot sheet, right? And you put the wrong number with the wrong name, and that goes up while you editing, you know? And I guess I didn't think of it that way, but.
Well, I can say this because I'm learning more of this too in the narrative of it. Like, and you work with me. I'm big on, like, if you have aptitude and interest and you kind of know what we working on, we can kind of get in where we fit in.
Yeah.
When it comes to editing, though, you kind of got to understand the story, and it's tougher, especially when I think of like the generational difference of me and most of my crew, because they've never like set through narrative the way that I've set through narrative, because I grew up watching, you know, long films and long form content, as they call it. This is long form content to get to the short form content. So if you don't understand narrative, it's like, it's certain things you miss. Yeah. So like, as I love basketball, so I can, you know, it's so interesting. And a game we went to this year, and shout out to Forsyth, my homie Mike, he was like, yo, we got to see Wemby when he come to Detroit. So we got some tickets, and there was some dope tickets and stuff. So like, I saw like some of their camera setup and where things were going, but just because I know basketball, I know what to expect where things are going. Right. I think I'm pretty good when it comes to camera, even like knowing switcher. Right now, as we're recording, the World Cup is going on. Because I don't know soccer, like, would I follow the action, as they say? Right. Yes. But if you know the sport, you know that, like, oh, when this person kicks, next is going in this direction. Right. Just because, you know what I'm saying? Right. That's the flow, and that's the style of play. Yeah. So it's not, like, how do I put it? Like, it's not like do or die per se, but it's this much extra that you get. And sometimes it's this much extra that could be the difference between capturing the perfect moment. Yep. You know, like, especially when it comes to sports, you know, they talk always about the catch, you know, Dwight Clark in the end zone from Joe Montana, and the Cowboys about to catch, you know, tackle him, or like, I mean, I guess even this year, the NBA finals with the Knicks, and OG like got that block shot, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't really know basketball and know what's happening on the line at that moment, at that time, like I say, you're gonna follow the action, and in following the action, the thought process wouldn't be like, oh, we need to go camp. And like, the position you're talking about is you're the director of like what shot we're going to see based on like what's happening in the action, and like,
you got to anticipate that next move.
Yes. And, so you'll be like, camera one, go. Yeah. You know, so like camera one, and then like, so it's really like steps, and like, and shout out to Lumumba, because he like, I was like, you learn for real. It's like really like, you got to camera one set.
Ready, camera one.
Yeah, ready, camera one, go. Yeah. So then the person working this device, the switcher, you're going to that camera, and then you be like, camera 7, set. And then camera 7 will be like, ready. So then you be like, camera 7, go. Because you want to get the guy dribbling the ball. Yep. And then you get the right angle of like,
you want to get defense too, though, because you got to see what they looking like. Are they ready? Are they ready?
And then you get the right close up when he's here with like the layup. Yep. And then when he knocks it, you want to get like probably the other angle back to like defense, because he ain't trying to foul him. So you want to go to the other sideline. All of this stuff is happening simultaneously. Like, the Super Bowl is completely this. Another thing is like, anytime those like boxing, WWE, all of that stuff, it's a lot of producers, directors that are in different things 4 angles, and the more you know, the better it can anticipate, like you say, what that shot will be. Hence, live has a different energy.
It does. And so I again, I was deflated. And went into training, went into corporate America after that. Been in corporate America for some years. And, I think now it's time.
And what hit your belly so much for this project? Because even when you delivered, I'm like, man, that's going to be a tough one, because every time I think about food, because I've seen and I've done one, shout out to my homeboy Omar. We did just a menu for him, and we had to do like all of the food production and so much that we put. But you have something that combines comedy and food. I think food production already takes a whole lot, because actually, like when you guys are watching Rachel Roy or G. Garvin or whatever, Rachel Ray, you know, it's like they may make 7 dishes just for the same dish, because they got it's like, okay, this is what's gonna go in the oven.
Yep.
This is what's gonna look like when we put this on. This is what that's gonna look like. So like, it's this casserole like 12 different times.
Yep.
And we got to make it look appeasing to the people that are watching it. And appeasing video and tasting good are two totally different things.
Two totally different things. And we have the nerve to have people tasting it live. So, when I got into comedy in 2020, I tried my hand at stand-up, which I love the stage, but because of my parenting, I'm a single mom, and my daughter has a schedule, I can't practice like I want to. And I don't care what nobody says. People are like, well, you can practice at home in front of a mirror. It is nothing like being on that stage and hearing that first roar of laughter from the back hit you on that first joke when it lands, period. And so because I know I can't practice like I should, and I respect the craft way too much to get up there and BS, right? I'm not going to get up there and just lollygag and play with it, right? So I said, well, where else can I put my comedy, right? At the time, there was a lot of comedians, on social media, talking like, oh, I can cook, whatever. And I'm like, why don't we put that together? But it evolved because during the research for this show, I didn't realize how many chefs and the culinary industry, how vivid it is, how pronounced it is in Detroit, right? You go, people come here and they're like, oh, which Coney Island do you go to? They think 2 Coney Islands, or they think Detroit style pizza. But our gourmet chefs are killing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they don't get showcased enough, right? You get a chef, word of mouth, or, what I'm saying, if you got a catering event or whatever, but to get them in a room and get them on stage, mixed with comedy. Who doesn't love a good a comedian, right? And I think also learning these comedians, they're not just comedy, right? Some of them can really cook. Some of them can really get up on that burner and burn. And so just learning that, some of this, and some of them really got personal about their stories and how they're cooking. Listening to those stories during their confessionals or their interviews, I just feel like the city of Detroit, as we evolve as a city, bringing that aspect with that aspect, I thought it would be a good show.
Definitely. So like comedians is Kev. Shout out to Kev, Uncle Smooth,
Fago, Josh Adams.
Yep. Josh
Coco.
Josh is judging. That's why I love Josh.
Bless his heart.
I love Josh.
We love him. Yeah, you gotta love him.
It's like one of my best friends. It's like for real. Like not just like when we do stuff. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I have had a long-standing text thread with Josh just over ridiculous stuff, even to this day. But definitely seeing you execute it. You shot it at Cooking with Q. So shout out to Q.
Shout out to Q. Shout out.
And the layout of that space, and the brightness of it, everything came together, and a lot delivered in just watching it. What did it feel like it coming to life from that imagination?
So this was 6 years in the making. I actually started in 21, 22, so I had footage from there, and I had to start over. It felt good. It felt really good to be able to think that process through. Because to be honest, I didn't know where I was going to start, right? I had to borrow cameras. I had to come to your studio and do the interviews. I paid a lot of that out of my personal 9-to-5 check, you know. I didn't, to your point about cooking or shooting food, I didn't really understand what all went into that.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot. The day that we shot the season, we did it 3 episodes in one day.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't let an episode breathe, so we went back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
That kitchen had 3 chefs. Now, I don't know if you ever been in Q's back kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
It's about this big.
Yeah, I've been there.
Okay. So we had 3 chefs back there and their help. So it was at least 2 people to a chef.
Mm-hmm.
Rotating, trying to use burners. I wish I could have got a kitchen cam back there because that would have been great footage. But I didn't realize the moving parts just in the culinary part itself.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that come to fruition, to actually get 3 full episodes out of that felt really good. Now, as a professional, I see all the hiccups. I see all the audio issues. I see all the camera. I see all of that. Mm-hmm. But it was actually Dara that told me, because I was like, Dara, I got to have a place to put this before I finish it, before I shoot it. She said, just get it out there. Mm-hmm. It's in your brain. Get it out there. Just put your content out. Put it out. Mm-hmm. And so while I would love to have it to be perfect, and it's not, production-wise, it is not perfect. But the treatment of it is good.
And let me be honest with this. Lord knows, like, it's so many things I look up and I'm like, damn, that's up there. I mean, that I think is the cool thing about even this forum. Like, if you all look at, go back into the archives of Detroit, is different. Where I'm at now with all of it, what the sound, the lighting, the video, the color correction, it moves, and you build process. So, like, nothing's ever going to look like what it was. I mean, one of the classic ones, it's so weird. And I mean, I guess a couple of them are cool, but like, I know you're like me, just same age. We love Martin. And it was just like the running joke. It's like, man, when he changed the intro, I don't like those episodes as much.
Right.
But way higher production. You can see the production value of like when it's digital Martin and he walking around versus the You So Crazy, intro. You could tell, like, okay, this is limited budget. And you all can kind of see this in a lot of TV because it's like, damn, they in the same place. I think one of the most known one is, The Cosby Show.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
Kitchen, living room.
Yep.
Maybe a bedroom.
Yep. Or a hallway.
Yes. Like, this is what it is. And we got to shoot all 20 episodes of this first season right in here.
Yep.
The seasons grow. It's all types of stuff that's happening. But most shows, it's going to be real limited. What's happening now back in the day. Nowadays, I think it's a little bit different because the thing that limits it now is, I mean, a TV season may have 6 episodes. Like if you look at, I don't know, people like Insecure and Issa Rae and her productions, but like even like Awkward Black Girl to when we look at like Insecure season 1 versus how it ends up, completely different level of production value.
Yep. And that's how I have to look at it because, you don't want to get stuck at it's not perfect.
Because I don't think it's ever going to be perfect. And some of those imperfections, people kind of like some of those imperfections.
Yeah.
It's those moments that a movie I really like, and I ain't watched it in a while. I'll rewatch movies a lot when I get in a wig for it, but like Black Dynamite, and Black Dynamite is like a spoof of a lot of the blaxploitation movies, but it plays off some of the mistakes that you can see in a lot of the movies. Like, hey, this is where it goes. I mean, so many movies you could just tell, like, clearly that probably wasn't in the script. I mean, Cameron was saying like, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? That Kermit the Frog, I ain't say that. And it's like, yeah, because I don't think anybody's going to be like, you look like Kermit the Frog.
Right.
But at times it's like, yeah, that's going to stay.
Yeah. And shout out to my editor Paige. I probably stressed that poor girl out, but she got us to the finish line. Her editing skills and putting some of that AI in it, where we needed some spaces, was amazing. And I really had no thought in hosting, right? Mm-hmm. You know how I feel about being on camera, Kari.
I think you're amazing. And
I think appreciate it.
As I always say, I think being on camera, but share, and you know.
So the day of the shoot, I was already nervous because I had to host, right? Mm-hmm. I did not have a teleprompter. I opted out of having a teleprompter, which we know we won't do that in the future. We did not rehearse. So that was a thing. But then I had some of the Detroit Different crew was there. So they were new to the set. And I am used to directing. That first set that we did 3 years ago, I was directing. And so I was able to hold moves, do things. Well, at this point, I was on the other side. And the audience, because we always have a live audience to get that natural laugh, right? And so they told me every 5 minutes, Amber, fix your face, because they said you are directing in your head. Mm-hmm. You are saying, why are you doing that? It was on my face. Mm-hmm. And so I have to understand that, and I learned this, I have to play my position even at my own production, right? And so I had to be the host. And if I would go back, if I had to do that over, I would have just been the host and not done anything else.
I think, so 2 points to this. And it's funny because you're one of the main people. You be like, Kari, you be mean and stuff. It's like I have, how do I put this? It's definitely production me. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes I'm just being, I guess people may say like I'm being stoic. I'm still processing a lot of stuff.
Yes. Yes.
So like if I'm processing a lot of stuff, I'm not as like right now I'm interviewing, I'm more animated, I'm in this conversation and everything. But if I'm processing, I can be very
matter of fact,
but more so I'm real flat. I'm not as extroverted in my personality, I think, is what people may think, because it's like, hold on, I'm putting this shit together in my mind. I see everybody that knows me, it's like I see life like a bunch of equations, and I'm trying to put the right variables on both sides of it. Yeah. And when it starts looking like, all right, I don't know what's happening, I got to process it. And
because you got to be ready to pivot.
Or at least where I'm going. And sometimes the pivot is just to do nothing. Yeah. As I get older, I'm learning more to accept that. So with it, that's that. But definitely, I think when you're in this world, the risk of like, and I've had other people host, like if you guys check the archives of Detroit, it's different. I've had different people host. I mean, you interviewed me on one of them and everything, but like back to like imagination and vision, if they're not in sync, it's tough because people naturally think whoever they see is the person that is over everything that's happening. That sometimes happens, like with a Don Cornelius, Soul Train, or y'all know my guys. Shout out to HT, and all of them and what they did for so many years with the Dan Show and all of that stuff. But most times the person you see hosted versus the people that produce it are two separate entities, and it can cause a lot of tension. Yep. Now comes the other layer of like, I guess we can kind of pick up with this and a whole lot. Like this world and industry, as we said, like just from the production side, being a woman is tough. Mm-hmm. Even from the talent side, being a woman is tough because it's a lot of
expectations.
But I would just say it's a lot of creepy ass dudes that are in this industry. I mean, I don't know what other way to explicitly put it. In it, do I think that, you know what I'm saying, which this may be like somebody thinking like I'm sounding creepy, but it's definitely been things that have been transactional in this arc of entertainment.
So true.
And, that's between those parties that come together. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the creepy dudes is creepy towards dudes. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. But definitely being a woman is some whole other shit that I know gets laid on you in this world.
For sure. And I believe in holding two perspectives, right? While I know, when I meet a male in this industry, while I know he may think, oh, she's attractive, I also want him to know that I'm serious about what I'm doing. So I come with my experience, I come with my work, I come with a proof of concept. And so I think, whereas going back to when I was younger, I didn't have that, right? I didn't have a proof of concept. I was learning, at that moment, learning as I went along. And I think for me, I just have to, I don't want to say keep my guard up, because I don't really believe in that, but I have to pay attention. Like I cannot, when I meet a new male in this industry, I always have to pay attention. And I think most women in this industry may have to pay attention. You just have to pay attention to what they're saying to you, body language. Is he just telling me yes because he thinks I look good, or he think I'm going to give him his number? Is he, going to help me out because of that? It's just a lot that goes into that. And I just really want to create. And at the end of the day, when I meet someone, or I try to get someone to help me, I really tell them, like, the passion behind this is I really want to create this. This is a concept that I believe in. This is a concept that I think can scale. And so I just stay this tunnel vision in that. And I try to find other women, Dara, that's in this industry, that's doing it and moving, and not really dealing with that per se, dealing with it, but it's not in the forefront of their.
So, okay,
you know what I'm saying?
So now comes, like I say, between music and this, I don't know what you want to say. Like, I guess depending upon how we define it, and thank God, I personally think I've had some experiences that have put me in national perspectives of this stuff, but definitely very regional and local. So one thing, a lot of the people that there are some couples where they work together and it did start and it connects and they make a lot of great stuff together. That does exist too.
For sure.
So like,
for sure.
So like along the way, it does balance out. The other thing that's really tough, and I only can speak from what I've seen and what I've heard, but it's sometimes tougher with women to work with women, because under that same arc, it's like, damn, as soon as she come to set, they ain't gonna be, my crew ain't gonna be productive. Mm-hmm. So that can sometimes be a weird ass
dynamic
elephant in the room, because it's like I you hear this too many times, and then like sometimes it's like I see it because somebody brings it up, and then you see it's like, damn, that's weird, because it'd be like, yo, just holler at her, you know what I'm saying? Like
right.
The naivete of like back in the day. So now that's why, like, when people say, do you know a person, it's like, yo, I know a lot of people, but when I refer a person, I'm usually giving like the longest context of, yo, this is what I've done. This is what happened when I work with them. This is where things were. Here go another thing. Let's just say everything is cool. This is the other layer to add to all this production stuff. Man ain't creepy. Woman ain't creepy. When they work with Detroit, is different. Is this rate? When they work with you, is that rate.
Yeah.
That right there is across the board always been a reality.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, you'd be like, you hook people up, and then the next thing you know, a person be like, man, they charged me, and you'd be like,
yeah. But I feel like another layer of that is just relationships, how you build relationships in this, right? You and I have a relationship with this type of industry, and so you let me use your studio, you know what I mean? Whereas I may have went somewhere else and they would have charged me to use the studio, right? So I think also keeping your name clean in this industry, I think, is big. Keeping the level of respect of not, trying to side hustle a person,
And that Man, it's like there's so many elephants I'm throwing out, but I want to because we've had these discussions.
Yeah.
Side hustling is extremely prevalent in this.
Yeah.
You know, where that is what they're doing. Like the amount in local and regional, how do I put this? The way that some people, when I pay them for some of the stuff that we do, come to me, it bothers me. Because it's kind of like that scene with Bonnie Lee Curtis and Coming to America. It's like they be like, I cannot believe it. And it's like, yo, man, you should have been getting paid for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of the people you working with. Mm-hmm. Being that they not paying you, that makes me feel bad. Yeah. And when I say this, I'm definitely not saying like I'm paying in I'm more honorable than any of these people. It's like the paying is because I'm paying attention to this. And I'm going to really be honest with you. Just because I pay don't necessarily mean I'm going to get more productivity from these people. What I found by paying is I at least get the person to say if they're not going to show up.
Yeah.
Which, in reality, with doing a production, that is very important. Or you don't get the like, all right, I know you said you need me for 5 hours. So I know it's 3 to 8. I can come at 3:30, but I got to dip at 5. I could probably be back by 7. Nah, man. I'm going to pay you. That way I know what's up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why. So I'm not saying, I'm not more honorable than these people, but this is just how I'm going to do business. And I had to get to this point from learning. But clearly, like I say, from what I've learned and seen, it's other people that definitely don't get down in the same way.
Yeah, and, when you paying out of your pocket, it's definitely something different, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had to tell folks, listen, I got to pay you back, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So I am grateful for those who believed in the project, who said, you know what, I'm going to show up regardless. Mm-hmm. You know what, I'm going to help you out regardless. I even you showing up the day of, bringing audio equipment, setting that up, I appreciate that. And I don't take that for granted. But I also know once this show gets to where it needs to go, I'm going to come back and pull some people with me. Now, I know that's controversial for a lot of people. It is. But I feel like that's how you build relationships. That's how you move through different industries with your community.
This is where I guess just in so many years of doing a lot of this, usually when you get on larger stages, it rarely comes back. It's very backwards logic, and it's tough because I do so many things in community. Yeah. When people be like, as soon as I get a budget, I'm gonna pay you. That's never usually going to happen because when you get a budget, usually it's associated with wherever the production is coming. And those stakeholders usually want to work with whoever their people are. Yeah. In this entertainment world, more so than anything, you're usually given, let's say, a $10 million budget. But it's like, it's to work with these people.
Right.
And I'm not saying you can't bring in one or two, but sometimes it can be like a drag out fight for anybody you want to bring in.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak to anything like directly because it's like legal matters that I've seen happen, but it could get tough. So I understand throughout where things lie. I think that personally, the benefit is the more cool creative stuff gets active and out there, the better it helps all of us across the board.
For sure.
Because, Detroit is different. It's still way more of a like, how do I look at it? This is like a, this is like a development league. If this is baseball, this is, triple A, quadruple A, you're going to come here, work some things out, single A, and then eventually you'll get to the majors, and that's phenomenal if you get there and go. I mean, I'm so ecstatic, and I mean, I'm still sitting on them productions, but like, even seeing that, and shout out to him that CP is going to be hosting this new iteration of Comic View. Yeah. And I'm glad that I've been able to work with him. He's been one of the most professional people I've ever hired in reference to this. This is dope. Yeah. I like that. I'm not necessarily one of those people thinking that like I'm heading there with Detroit is different.
For sure.
This is one of the transitional places, and that's how I feel. And I've always told other people, like, yo, a lot of what you thinking is a lot harder than you think, because those rooms, part of the, like, it kind of really ain't $1 million. It's like your project is what we're funding right now.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a part of this, but we're working with the same crews.
For sure.
It would probably drive a lot of you guys crazy to learn how it's been some of the same people working on the same productions over time and time and time and time again. And then when they get done, it's they kids. And then when they get done, it's they kids. So you be like, damn.
Yep.
People that worked on Dumbo is the same people working on Toy Story 6?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And the crazy part is, you know, I've got way more no's than yes. And that's from people that I need to work on the production, from distribution, from all kinds of things. And, you know, it can definitely be deflating. It definitely can be deflating. But to me, the vision is bigger than the no. And at this point, we got a season out. We got a show out. Like I said, the production is what it is. But just the fact that we got it out, that's the part that I think I like to sit in, right?
I love it.
Because if I sit in, you know, it's not perfect. If I sit in what went wrong, who didn't call me back, that's not the space and energy I want this show to be in. You know, I want it to be in, we got it out, we got it done, and we can only scale from here.
Well, it definitely surprised me. I think it's a hell of a success. I put a lot more benchmarks to success in doing all of this stuff. I think I probably sent you that message, and I don't know if people be thinking that I'm just like be sitting in some like, you know, like, Kari, you shouldn't get credit for this. No, the more I do all of this stuff, the more I have so much more respect for like every little step of the way.
For sure.
So like, yo, you kicked ass on that.
I appreciate
you brought it together. I applaud it. And like I say, I like to see stuff get created and come together and be executed. So I definitely see as whatever those next steps be, we're going to have more conversations. And now I think you understand more of the variables in the equation for you. And we can have one of those conversations. And I'm like, okay, well, I can offer this. I can offer this. I can offer this.
For sure.
And I want to, see more of the success happen, because you do have one of those imaginative minds that can bring something to life. And that is what I love to be a part of.
I appreciate that. And I think already looking at season 2, I already know where we need to bump up audio for sure.
I got you. And we can have those conversations.
Yeah.
Audio is my first love.
Yeah, we got it. I think the way we set up the cameras and how we had it feeding into the switcher, I think that was a variable that we didn't have to use. So especially with the things that Da Vinci can do. Yeah. Right. So I feel like this next season, we're going to trim the fat. Yep. We're going to trim the fat. And
season 3 will be better than 2 and so forth and so on.
So hopefully we can get some more comedians to jump in.
Okay.
I think I want to keep it at 3 episodes because it makes sense. The winner of the first, the winner of the second, compete in the third.
Yeah.
Boom.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm with it. So with that being said, how do people check it out? How do they watch?
Go to YouTube. Cooking with Comedians Challenge. Just type it in. It should pop up. We are on Instagram, Cooking with Comedians _. You can follow me at Amber Ewing and on IG _. Facebook is Cooking with Comedians Challenge. And I'm on Facebook as Amber Ewing.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's spelled like it's spelled. It's not like any like urban colloquialism.
No, right. It is
like cook in.
and let me tell you, everybody has told me they hate the name. But here's the thing. When we did the trademark, my lawyer said this is what you got to go with.
I personally like the name because I know exactly what it is. Like, if it was like, laughing and stirring up,
pots
you'd be
and
like,
pans.
what the hell is this? Yeah.
Punchlines and pans.
Yeah, it's like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, it's straight. It's to the point. You get in there. You see 2 comedians cooking. They doing a local chef's dish.
Yep.
And then you got a judge. That's a comedian. And then the chef is also judging. And then you have the audience in the background.
Yep.
So it's a simple treatment.
Hey, and I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm with it. So with that, classic Detroit is different questions. Question number 1. Your very first car, year, make, and model, year you got it.
Spirit Acclaim.
Oh, man.
All white one with wine interior,
Okay.
red wine interior.
Okay.
Was 96.
Mm.
At 96. And I was driving that to DSA.
Okay. Where's the first place you went when you got it?
DSA.
There we go. Straight to school.
Straight to school. My mama
we go.
did not play. Now, we didn't have to find with the iPhones back then, but she could find me. Trust.
Hey,
Trust and believe.
I got you. And you said straight to school.
Straight to school.
So did you just drive down Grand River from Rosedale Park, or did you have to hop on
didn't.
9-6?
We didn't do freeways at that time.
Oh.
Because it was brand new. It was a brand new driver, so I took Grand River. For sure.
That's a lot of the culture of the city of
It
Detroit.
is going straight down Grand River. Yeah, for sure.
A lot of culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking that Grand River bus, especially back
Mammoth.
then. Yeah, Mammoth, them Coolie kids.
Yeah.
Like you may get a couple of them Redford kids in one way.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna get the Murray Wright kids.
For sure. For sure.
If it ain't Murray, it ain't right.
For sure.
As they say. All right, so next question. You're the DJ at the end of the fireworks. Woodward and Jefferson. You get to play 2 songs. What songs you playing?
Drop.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun,
I know exactly. Ghetto Tech.
Drop.
We with it.
And Work It.
Okay. More Ghetto Tech.
Right.
Okay. People going to be jitting and partying.
And they're going to be dropping.
I'm with it. And the last question. You could rename Woodward after one Detroiter. Who'd it be and why?
Oh, man. That's a question for sure. Mary Sheffield.
All right. I'm with it. You're the second person to bring that up. Why?
Because of her innovation, what she's doing in the city, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna say I was skeptical. I'm not that, but it was. I felt the pain I felt the toughness that was on her shoulders, being the first Black woman. I was just praying that she could withstand that pressure, right? And she's killing it.
Yeah.
She's killing it. There's no one thing that stands out to me. Well, I will say her working with the youth, at least trying to work with this, teen takeover, trying to hear them out, her getting some of the film folks in her office, reaching out to the creative community, her recognizing that Detroit is a creative city, her recognizing that and putting that on the in the forefront. I think that's, for sure.
Well, definitely the Sheffield administration is off to the glowing start of how things have been implemented. So much, definitely with mothers, houselessness.
Yep.
Looking at affordable housing, standing definitely with more, expanding what community violence intervention, and looking to give young people access to things. Like, it's many waves of things that are being executed that are something that everyone in community is applauding. So I'm with that. I'm definitely with that.
Hopefully they'll make that happen.
All day. I mean, it's a lot of that motion's happening. And with that being said, this is a Detroit is different. Thank you so much, Amber Ewing.
Thank you for having me.
All right. With that being said, peace.